Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Every Day is Friday 365. I'm your host, Matthew, and remember to subscribe so you can join me on this journey where every day is Friday. Today, I got a really special guest joining us, Kevin. He is a master hypnosis, mindset coach, and behavior expert. Let's jump right into it. Kevin, thank you for being here, man. How you doing?
Oh, thank you, Matt. It's an absolute pleasure. I'm excited.
How's life been treating you lately, and where are you finding meaning and purpose today in life?
Life gets better every day because I refuse to quit. I refuse. Every day I've got negative thoughts. Every day I want to sabotage myself. Every day I'm putting myself down. I have doubt, self-doubt, low self-esteem. Um, uh, uh, Times I want to quit everything from my purpose to my faith all day long, every day. It's how I reverse that psychology, Matt, and I make it positive so it becomes productive instead of destructive.
I love that. That's such a good point. For the listeners who may not be familiar with your work yet, can you give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do?
Yes, I am a clinical hypnotherapist, meaning I have a license to help you with any trauma, PTSD. I'm talking across the board, whether it's internal, whether it's external. If you've got any thing you want to work on your looks, on your weight, so it crosses over. It's 100% focused on human, the human avatar, the body, the mind,
I love that.
and yeah. And how I got there was I went through divorce, right? I came to America, met a babe, my dream girl, my Pamela Lee Anderson is what I call her, and I had a great life. Was in Hollywood, did very well, worked a lot, but I never really focused on myself or my family. I was very focused on everything external, everything out there, nothing within, nothing about myself, nothing to make myself better, Matt, nothing to improve myself, but just literally the daily grind of just existing in this world, this external reality.
Things
Uh,
usually come from one small moment. And, you mentioned that it came out of a divorce that made you into who you are today. But I mean, how did you first get into hypnosis and mindset work? Like, what was that moment that shaped you?
Losing your love. I lost the love of my life. Now I take responsibility, but remember, it goes both ways. It's not just me, but yes, I take responsibility for everything because I could have been a better person. I could have saved that relationship. I could have been there more for my children. And it's after the fact. Or it wasn't really one event, Matt. It was about a 5-year event. Over a span of 5 years was this decline in my relationship, in me being a good husband, in me being a good dad. And I say that out of humility. I don't say that because uh, uh, I know I did wrong. I know I did wrong. And unfortunately, those the times are over. I need to focus on the present moment and what I can do now. So the reason I fell into pit on a snowy day with a lion was because my ex fell out of love, and that rejection led to abandonment, led to depression, led to anxiety. There was this trickle effect that affected me on a very high level that I couldn't cope anymore. I was literally having panic attacks. I was confused. I couldn't focus. I couldn't think. I was scared to respond. There were all these things that were affecting me because of losing. When you don't have love, it will destroy you. That's why we have to have a lot of empathy for orphans. We have to have a lot of empathy for people that have gone through trauma in their life because they've been stripped of a joy or a privilege that is theirs, but somebody stripped it from them, ripped it from them, from their existence.
The majority of people that go through trauma and have heartbreak, the outcome of that, they become so much of a better person, and who they become after the heartbreak, it's truly remarkable who they become because it can go both ways. They can go down, really down a deep hole, or they can climb the mountain and become someone totally different, to become
Mm.
the person, the legend, as you say. that people need to be going towards? I mean, what made you want to help people change the way they're thinking?
Because I was homeless. I was homeless. I literally had been a CEO for about a decade of my life before. This is pre the pandemic. And I was very successful. I mean, I was 26 years old, driving a Porsche Carrera convertible down Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. I was badass, man, and I was dangerous. I was very dangerous. I was a very brutal businessman. They called me at DreamWorks Little Napoleon because if they couldn't get a job done, they sent me in, and I was very sophisticated, but I was very influential in my approach. I came in very strategically. I didn't just attack. I literally would observe, pay attention, and watch, and then look for my angle to, take on the moment, Matt. So, a lot of that had helped me in business. It didn't help me in my personal life because I hadn't worked on myself. I'd worked on my business and making money and having the life in Hollywood, and I worked on you name the biggest movies before pre-COVID. I'm talking Saving Private Ryan. My favorite was Gladiator that I worked on. Evolution, Biker Boys, Envy, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. Man, so many movies that I worked on. Prince of Egypt, Shrek. I worked on about 13 top Hollywood movies over 16 years. And it was fantastic for my resume, but to get work, but it wasn't fantastic for me personally because I wasn't hyper focused on improving myself. I was hyper focused on chasing fame and glory, and you don't own that. It's not yours. You don't own that. That's unless you want to join a cult. then that's the easy way to get fame and glory. Just join a cult. But I didn't want to do that because my body was sacred to me. So I saved that, but I did sacrifice my time for Hollywood. That was my mistake.
That's so interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more about all that?
So I grew up I was born in South Africa, and for the first few years of my life till I was 5, we lived on a small set of islands called the Cabo Verde Islands, which are just off the west coast of North Africa. And my dad worked for the airlines, so it was a fueling spot for all the airlines flying from Europe, Africa to North and South America. They'd stop in these islands, refuel, and then go off. So I would stand on the tarmac because it was a very primitive airport back then. But I'd stand on the tarmac and I'd watch these massive Boeing 747s come in and land on like this 5 mile or whatever it was a runway, and then take off again. So, and then when they put in to get fueled, just the pure presence of them was awe-inspiring. So I was really enamored with these Iron Eagles. I didn't know the effect it would have on me mentally because you feel so insignificant with this big, huge beast, and it's so loud, it's so big, it's scary. But I didn't fear it. People would flee from it. I would stand in awe, Matt. The reason I'm saying this is it helped me with my visualization. So what it did was I was able to easily visualize things. I'm talking palatial estates, private islands, a garage full of sports cars. Because of these small little micro moments, my dad had me on the runway watching these planes land and refuel and take off. So when I was 5, we moved back to South Africa because I was speaking a foreign language called Creole, which is a slang Portuguese that the slave traders used back then, when they're taking the slaves from Africa to South and North America. It's called Creole. It's a slang kind of Portuguese. So that was my language. My mother wanted me to speak English. So we moved back to South Africa and I went to a school. And for the first years, I struggled because I had this very slang language and I'm trying to learn this very sophisticated language. English is a very sophisticated language. It is. People say it's very plain word. No, it isn't. It's a very sophisticated, very powerful language. Spelling, spells, words, casting. We have to be very careful, okay? And for the first time, I struggled because the kids taught me all these naughty, bad words. So I'd be cursing, I'd be cussing out the teacher and getting into trouble. And the kids thought it was funny, but I'd get into trouble. And I became like kind of like the class clown, and I didn't really like it. It actually hurt my self-esteem. So my mother put me in a private school where they spent really like one-on-one teaching me proper English. My mother's a computer scientist, and my dad's an engineer. So that helped me. And then as I got older, uh, I found out that I was semi-adopted. I was the product of an affair. I didn't realize that till I was 9 years old. Now that's okay, Matt. Just hear me out. I'm just sharing my story. That's okay. I didn't go like, oh, end of the world for me. I just realized, okay, well, this is different. I've got another dad, who was a hustler, and he is I got to know him, an amazing human being. He's forgiven for his sins, but he created the largest kind of Ponzi scheme in the stock market in South Africa, and he went down for that. Not down for that, but he couldn't trade anymore. He lost his licenses, and so he became just a nice, simple man. Went to church and became a game ranger at a safari farm in South Africa, which is what a lot of people do there, for tourism. But anyway, that had an effect to me when I was about 9 years old, and I became super rebellious, like just a radical. Like I just hated authority. I hated any kind of discipline. I was very disrespectful to any teachers, parents. But I played the field. I have a very high IQ, a very high IQ, Matt. So I kind of played the field. I knew who to manipulate and influence and who not to, and so by the age of 14, I wasn't attending school. I was bunking school. I didn't want to be in class. I would insult the teachers, so they'd kick me out. So most of the year I was sitting outside on the hallway, didn't actually be in class, because I saw no benefit in schooling. To me, education was for ignorant human beings. You spend 18 years in a classroom and you come out, you can't even get a decent job. Maybe you can flip burgers. F even that. You have to go to college for another 2 years, and then university. And I thought this was such a bunch of BS. It was such a lie. It was such a cheat code system. And I knew this back then. So my whole life, it was a battle royale between me and this universe that we live in. That by the age of like 15, I'll get kicked out of school, and no school in our area, because we lived in a very opulent neighborhood called Bryanston, which is like, it's like living in Beverly Hills. We lived in Bryanston in South Africa, and no school in the area. There were 4 schools. None of the high schools would accept me. Once I got kicked out the one school, they all said, we don't know what, so I couldn't go to schools. Yeah, I'm 15 years old. I can't go to high school. So my mother put me in art college. So I was in heaven, Matt. And because I could draw all day long, I could paint all day long, and we're drawing still lifes like fruit bowls, naked people. I was like 15 years old drawing naked girls and guys, and I was in heaven. Trust me, dude, I was in heaven. But the school was for all delinquent children. These all dropouts of society. The teachers were having the students' babies. That kind of this is happening at school. It was like, and then during lunchtime, we'd all dance and party in the cafeteria. It was awesome. I belonged there with all these degenerates of life and rogue human beings. And yeah, I was walking around with my skateboard, and that year also became South African skateboard champion. So I became very very active with my skateboard was like my best friend. It was with me everywhere. I'm speaking too much. What about you, Matt?
I just really want to know, how did you get into the movie scene after all that?
Oh yes, so got back, then I went to art school, got my fashion design diploma. By the age of 17, I was the youngest student ever to get the fashion degree by a diploma by 17. My mother 2 years prior came to America. Then I came to America. Once I came here when I was 17, we were living in LA, so I started looking at Hollywood, and I thought I could get into the fashion industry in Hollywood. And it's not that easy. There just really isn't one. It's more like you have to get into the costume department. And I really didn't want to do that. I didn't want to put costumes and make costumes for celebrities. I didn't want to do that. I want to design high-end garments for celebrities, not, do this. What's costume design? I didn't care about it at all. So then I just got an email job I could in the movie industry. And I've always worked harder than anybody I know. There's only one other person I've ever met that has worked harder than me. I've always worked harder than anybody I know. And so I climbed the ranks very fast. And about 2 years into my film career, there was a studio called DreamWorks that had just launched with Steven Spielberg, David Geffen, and Jeffrey Katzenberg. So DreamWorks, SKG, Spielberg, Katzenberg, and Geffen. And in my apartment complex in Studio City, over in LA, a guy got a job in the mailroom. And I knew I just had to get my foot in the door, because once I was in the door, I would get in. But there they had this situation where if you're a film student, you come work in the mailroom for a year, or you intern for a year. I just wanted to get in. So I got into the mailroom. He left it. I replaced him. His name was Eric. I replaced Eric. And within a year, actually it was less, it was about 6 months, I I got to know every single person in DreamWorks because this is called Amblin. Most people do the DreamWorks studio. You had to drive a golf cart all the way to the Fast and Universal Studios to do Amblin. Nobody wanted to do it. I raised my hand and I did it. So I was around Steven Spielberg, David Geffen, Tom Cruise, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jeff Goldblum, uh, 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 amazing people. I'm trying to think of their names right now. I'm going back in my time. So I was around all these massive people. Ridley Scott, Sam Mendes, Walter Parks. I mean, these are legends in the legend. I see them every day, and I'd have lunch there every day. So I could see Tom Cruise coming in. I got to meet all celebrities like The Rock, Matt Damon, Vince Vaughn. Like you just say hi to them because they're everywhere at Amblin Studios. You can't help not pass them because they have to come to the reception anyway or walk through the halls, you know. And I was the mailroom guy, so I got to know the lawyers, the biggest badass lawyers in the Hollywood, all the executives, all the producers, the directors, because I was dropping off their mail, and I knew them by name because that's one thing I learned from a young child is, and a person's name is the most important thing that they possess. So there in our contracts at DreamWorks, you're not allowed to make eye contact with anybody, especially Steven Spielberg, because it's in the contract. Or approach him. You can't approach him. You can't do that. And if you do, you'd get kicked off the lot and you'd be banned from the lot. Approaching. So I knew that. But I was so nonchalant about it and I was so respectful about it that I could call them by name just by passing them and they were okay about it. It wasn't like, and they knew who I was, but it wasn't like I was in their face, Matt. And then I got acknowledged and I got recognized it, and they made me become a full-time employee at Amblin. So I worked there in post-production. So I worked in the editing bays. Then I got to meet more people. Then I got to meet all the big directors and all the biggest producers and directors and hang out with them. And I got to work on all those movies. Because I worked harder than anybody, Matt. I worked smarter than most people. Unfortunately, I was being a foreigner. I wasn't given a lot of opportunities. So if there was a promotion, it would take me maybe 1 to 2 to 3 times to get that promotion. So it took me 3 times longer to climb the ranks than if I was a American or if I was. That's just how it is. When you're not really part of the family or the system, you have to fight harder, work harder, and literally like almost kick and scream to get your way. Because if you don't, and especially when you're good at something, Matt, they like to keep you there because you're irreplaceable. I made myself irreplaceable too many times, so it was always hard. Oh, we can't lose Kevin because if he's not in the post production anymore, scheduling all our screens for us, then it was always I always made it harder for myself, not knowing what I was doing. I thought I was doing the right thing. I was actually doing things that were hindering me. They weren't allowing me. I was working too hard, too much, giving too much. At the end of the day, I was taken for granted.
Yeah, give me like 3 things that were your biggest takeaways on these movies.
I wish they'd released the original version of Gladiator. That was 3 hours long. I watched it and I loved it. It was because I worked with them for 3 months straight, every single day, 7 days a week, from beginning to end. So my job, Matt, was I was in charge of the original elements. There were these big round reels called they were in Goldbergs. These big huge reels in Goldbergs. They were big cans. So they had to be in my position at all times or put in a vault. So whenever they would take the film out to work in it or make changes, I was in charge of the originals. Our department was, but whoever signed that original, you're responsible for $100 million movie in your hands. So it was a big responsibility. So anybody who had signed out that movie, like Saving Private Ryan or Amistad or Evolution or Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, you're responsible. I mean, if that thing got duplicated or something, I mean, the FBI, that's fraud. You'd be in a lot of trouble. I wish I wish the original version of Gladiator was released, but they didn't want to. Steven wanted a 90-minute version, not a 3-minute, because he wanted to win the Academy Award. And Steven Spielberg was right. That's exactly what happened, and he won, and he was right. But I wish I betted against him. The second thing was, you have to sacrifice. If you want to get anywhere in life, there's a sacrifice. And the higher you want to climb that ladder, the more you have to sacrifice. So do you want to sacrifice your time? You want to sacrifice your relationships? Do you want to sacrifice your body? You want to sacrifice your soul. All of these, there's a price to success. So, do you want to sacrifice your children? You know, in a sense of not seeing them, or other things. But it's really, Matt. It's number two is a sacrifice. Number three, um, you kind of have to belong to the good old boys club to go somewhere. You've got to be a part of some fraternity, some club, because if you don't, you've got a lot against you, and you won't make it. You won't. You will not make it. You will not. Now, in saying that, if you have God on your side, that's a different story. That's a different story. But in Hollywood, they're very self-centered. So there's a lot of me, not us, or a unit. It's very self-centered, and that's okay. More power to them. It just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. But that's kind of had that up. Those are the three things I would say.
No,
Original
you said
version, it was amazing.
sacrifice. Sacrifice is it's a very it's a strong word. Was that
Mhm.
the downfall of what you were going through in your divorce and all that? You had sacrificed so much to go into the movie business?
Yes, yes. But time, I wasn't prepared to sacrifice my body or my soul. Because and you can do very well and you can climb the ranks, but you're gonna have to give up something, Matt. It's by design. There's a blueprint, and you can't change it. You're not big enough to change that blueprint. It's the system. Is a monster. It's been there for so long. It's almost like Neo in the Matrix. You know what I mean? He can't do it alone. He has to join a resistance or join the system or whatever it may be. But in today's world, things are so big. When you try and change when a cruise ship starts moving, you can't move it. It's gonna turn very slowly. Do you know what I mean? Um, but if I'm a big person of faith. If you've got on your side, you're good. So yes, if you look at what's been released right now on the World Wide Web by the government, the Epstein files. Um, that is maybe 10%, maybe, give or take, of what's actually out there. I think I would bet it's less than 10% of what's out there. Less than 10%, because from the Epstein, it trickles down to the next person, trickles down to the next person. It's like a Christmas tree. So, and even then, it's not even real. Even then, about Epstein, he isn't that story about him isn't even real. It's all a lie. Everything's made up. It's la la land. We're just spoon fed nonsense that we actually sometimes believe until we have that awakening or that aha, or we get smacked in the face. We go, hold on, what's going on? And that's what's happening right now. Is thank God for the internet. Thank God, because this otherwise you never would have known. That's just one angle. There's thousands of people like that in every industry, not just Hollywood, not just politics, every industry.
Kevin, I want to dive into the self-hypnosis part of it. How did that change your life? And how did you use
I
it?
was, yeah, I was, my, just after the pandemic, um, during the pandemic, me and my ex, I realized she was out of love with me because I tried to be intimate and be with her. She didn't really want to. She was kind of switched off and she was very into the kids. I have 5 boys. So after the pandemic, we had a very bad fight, big fallout, and I left, and I never went back. And so, because I wasn't working, making any money, I couldn't afford to live anywhere. So I bought this $1,200 trailer from this guy who was leaving, and I bought this trailer and put it on my brother has a couple of acres up in Oregon, and I lived in this meth trailer for 6 months. And everything was blocked off. The entire you couldn't see out the RV, the camp. You couldn't see out. It was all blocked up, and it had the sofa in the middle with the bed because. And it was meth. I know it was meth because even my family walked and said, Kevin, this is meth. This is the smell of meth in this. And so I had to rip all the stuff off the windows and give it some window and some space and air. And it had no water, no electricity. It was very, very bad. And for 6 months, this was my new home.
Wow.
And what I did was, in the winter, in less than a foot of snow, you can't really go anywhere, do anything. I just watched YouTube videos over and over and over again on motivation, on success, and I spent a lot of time on Instagram watching videos on lifestyles of the rich and famous and the influencers, and that's why my Instagram blew up from 1,800 to over 100,000 within over 3 months. I just spent a lot of time looking at content, and it really motivated me. So then I thought I'd go back to school, um, and I then got a car. So I moved out of the meth trailer, and I moved into my car. I lived in my car for 3 years. I lived in my car for 3 years. It was bad because the cops would come knock on your car, tell you to move. The homeless are defecating outside. It was disgusting. It was, and what I learned was, to share why I got into hypnosis, was being around homeless people. You can't make friends with them, first of all, because there's a mental illness there. There's a disconnect. They're not friendly human beings. They're very broken people. And for me, watching them, I realized that they're broken because not only is there something mentally wrong with them, they also do a lot of negative self-talk. So what happens is, over minutes, hours, days, weeks, and months and years, all this self-talk becomes your new programming. And so you can't step out of it. So I realized, okay, I mustn't do what they were doing. And also, I would walk from my car to the coffee shop, and I'd have one or two books in me, and I'd see two guys doing meth or something on the curb, and they'd look at me, and I've got two books in my hand, and they're doing drugs. I'm like, I was trying to reject what they were doing and do the opposite. So instead of doing that, I'd read a book, and I'd just read books on Neville Goddard, Alan Watts, Stuart Wilder, all these out-of-the-box mind thinkers, Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, Grant Cardone. I read all these books just to inspire you to be a better person. Dr. Joseph Murphy, and so forth. And that's really when I want to go to school to be a motivational speaker like Tony Robbins. And I realized from studying him, I went deep into studying who Tony Robbins was. He was a master hypnotist at 21 years old. I'm like, I thought a hypnotist was like a stage hypnotist. I didn't realize that Tony Robbins was a master hypnotist, Matt. And then I said, well, what is that? And then I found, because I was a big fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza, that he went to the #1 hypnosis school in Los Angeles called HMI. So I'm like, is there actually a school for this? So Matt, I just called them and I said, hey, I want to come to school there. And they said, okay, great. Go through our enrollment process. You're an American citizen. I said, yes. I said, okay, great. You're funded. Literally, like within less than an hour, even less than that, I was like, hold on, did I just get accepted and I'm now attending the Hypnosis Motivational Institute? And they said, yeah, you've been accepted. You're all good. And I was blown away. So within my first 6 months, I became a master hypnotist. And then within 12 months, I became a clinical hypnotherapist, meaning I've got a license and I'm insured to work with helping people with, it's called presenting issues, smoking, meth, vaping, childhood traumas, inner child work, or past life regression work, going to past life to see what happened maybe you got cursed 7 generations ago, and to break those curses and those unconscious blocks that are helping you from being successful today. And then I started to realize Rob Dyrdek was hypnotized for success. Mike Tyson's coach was a hypnotist. He used to hypnotize Mike Tyson. This is all on Joe Rogan. This is all on Joe Rogan. You can find this online. Tiger Woods' coach used to hypnotize him. He used to go to boot camps where those kids were hypnotized when Tiger Woods was a child to hit that ball trajectory to land in the hole and that kind of stuff. Andrew Tate, his coach was a hypnotist. So you start to realize all these things. And then when I was at school, pastors were at the school to learn about hypnosis. Rabbis. I'm going, hold on, this is bigger than this isn't just, hypnosis. This is a big business. And then I'd go to the bookstore and I'd say, oh, where's your hypnosis section? And they would say, that doesn't exist. There's no hypnosis section at any bookstore unless it's maybe some off the wall, mom and pop little bookstore down the corner. Maybe they have a small section. But yet it's the most helpful process in the universe, because I'm not prescribing a medication. I'm prescribing a mindset shift.
How do you use hypnosis to transform?
So right now I'm talking to you, Matt, and you consciously are only operating in about a 5%. Less than 10% right now. You're aware of everything around you. You're receiving all of my message units, the words that I'm using. You're receiving all these message units, and you're very suggestible to your environment when you're driving a car and so forth. When I put you under, when I induce you into hypnosis, so you're unconscious now, I have 100% success, because 90% of your subconscious, that's your programming, which is your processing, right? How you respond is your subconscious mind's programming, it's processing to make you respond that way. And you right now, Matt, are looking at me as a child through adult eyes. So your responses, your behaviors are actually when you were a child from 0 to about 8 years old. That's how you respond automatically. Automatically. You're an autopilot. You can't help it. Now, there is also modern memory, but that's a very small percentage of your behavior. That's if you went to war, or if you were in a bad car accident, it can trigger lots of trauma. You know what I mean? But that's modern. But your behaviors mostly from the ages of 0 to 8, when you learn to ride a bicycle, when mommy kissed you, daddy hugged you, you're bullied by the local kid. Those are all what's called your known associations. Your known programming is how you respond in your adult life.
Interesting. Can you tell me
So when
more?
you're
Like, because what role does emotions play in your transformation?
So when you're unconscious, then I can desensitize the negativity in your life, or the smoking sensation, or the dopamine from watching social media, and then I elevate that to positive. So I desensitize the negative and I elevate the positive. So think of it as reverse psychology. You're sad, well, I'm telling you you're happy now. You're mad, well, I'm telling you you're glad. So it's all, when you're unconscious, I have full control over I have direct access to subconscious mind. And I have to talk in metaphors. I have to talk like I'm telling it a story, because it's the only way it really understands. Because remember, the subconscious mind is like a child. You can't tell it. You can't point your finger at it and say, you do this now. It will shut off. It will like, hey, forget you. I want nothing to do. This guy's crazy. You have to build rapport. And the only way to build rapport, Matt, is to love on it and feed it metaphors, like Milton Erickson. He would do it. That's what Tony Robbins does on a conscious level. He feeds you metaphors, neurolinguistic programming, consciously to influence you psychologically, to change you consciously. I do it on an unconscious level. So I remove a lot of these shells or these blocks that have been holding you back for decades of your life, from childhood experiences to present day. That's how it works. So I'm really desensitizing the negative and then elevating the positive. And after about 6 sessions, you're ready to rock and roll. You're ruthless. You're dangerous. You're like, you think you can conquer the world. Nothing's going to stop you. You become fearless.
So when you have a negative emotion, you put a positive word to that negative emotion, correct?
Yes. So here's the thought. Well, here's the non-association. Here's the behavior. Okay, it's negative. Now I'll take a positive and I'll cover that negative. So your response is, I'm never really getting rid of this behavior. It's always going to be there, even if it's like flat line, it's baseline. It doesn't really matter. I've not put a skin over it of positiveness. So every time you want to look at social media, you're going to resist it, and that's going to be a dopamine fix. Instead of every time you open social media, you get a dopamine fix. I reverse psychology. And so what happens is, over time, over multiple sessions and putting multiple layers, I've now suffocated that negative behavior with a lot of positive reinforcement. So it can get triggered, but the more you exercise the brain, because the brain's a muscle, okay, it's called muscle memory, the more it will reinforce that behavior to a positive instead of a negative. So somebody, for instance, like they smoke. It takes about 6 sessions to get somebody to stop smoking. My brother, it took me 2. After 2, he quit. It's been over a year. That was September 2024. We're now into 2026. He doesn't smoke anymore. Done. Finish.
Can you break it down how you did that?
Well, he was sitting in front of his office at his computer. So it's over Zoom. I put him into hypnosis, and then I literally made him think he was eating rotten chicken. So every time he put the cigarette to his mouth, he would think of like rotten food, rotten chicken, and the stench and the thought of it. And then I say, in your conscious awake state, you're gonna have that same thoughts and feelings. So how it works, Matt, is a thought becomes an emotion. The brain and there's 2 separate entities, but the heart is a brain, by the way. It's many brains. So the thought becomes an emotion, and then there's that magic moment. They call it a magic moment. There's a magic moment before you respond. So by the time you respond, where my fingers are, the brain and the heart manifest this response. That's how it works. So now when he wants to smoke a cigarette, he's actually turned off by it because he doesn't really realize it consciously, but subconsciously saying, no, that's rotten chicken. Don't touch it. You'll get sick. But you see, him consciously is going, you know what? I don't want to smoke anymore. He doesn't actually really know because he's conscious. He's only using a small percent of his power. He's only using between 1 to 10% of his power. So he doesn't actually know.
Wow.
My brother didn't know that I did that to him. He forgot. He was having lunch with my mother one day, and he said, I'm sorry. He was telling my mother how proud he is and that he doesn't smoke anymore. And it's been about a year. It was September to September. And my mother looked at him like, no, Kevin hypnotized you to not smoke. And he's like, you know what I mean? Because consciously, Matt, we use such a small percentage of our power. Imagine if we use more than 10%, like Einstein, they'd use like 14%, they say, or something like Elon Musk, where we use more than what we actually are capable. Look at the difference Elon Musk has made to our world. Look at the difference Einstein has made because they use a little bit more. They just use 1 or 2% more than what they of their consciousness, and look at the difference they make in our lives. Imagine you could do that, Matt, and you can. I just have to remove. There's something blocking you. So think of yourself as a pipe, and you're hitting this block. Okay. What I do is I go in and I release that blockage, and boom, you have a breakthrough. That's exactly what it's like. You've got programming you that's hindering you, holding you back.
How do
So
we
that's why
achieve a greater percentage of our brain to
you release
use?
it. There's trauma. There's layers of trauma over your behaviors. I release them. Release. So every time the client's unconscious, I say, now bring that negative thought when you had self-doubt. I'm using this as an example. So that last time you had self-doubt, bring that thought to your brain right now, boil it all up into energy, and in a moment, I'm going to have you transfer that down through your arm and out of your index finger, the one that's closest to your thumb on your right hand, only the dominant hand. And I'll say you'll actually feel the energy thrum beneath the skin as it goes out, and you release it out of your finger. It's energy. It's vibration. So you're taking this negative energy in your brain and you're releasing it down your arm and bink out of your finger. It's energy. The subconscious mind is, and then I'll say in your early morning hours when you dream, dreams are your subconscious mind venting, Matt. That's what dreams are. It's your subconscious mind venting. Everybody dreams. If you didn't dream, you would die. Because what it is all the pressure, all the stress, all the tension, anything that doesn't serve you, when you're sleeping, the brain, like in a sense, rejects it, pushes it out of you because it doesn't serve you. That's why we dream. And then also there's other reasons we dream, but that's one of the main reasons we dream is because the subconscious mind is venting. You consciously can vent through working out, exercising, riding a bicycle, going to a therapist and talking and just venting out. But the subconscious mind can't. So it's got other ways. It's through dreams and so forth. That's why people that don't work out become fat and obese because of trauma. First of all, it's trauma that causes it, by the way. It's not just natural. They're that way because of trauma. And then second of all, they don't work out so that energy isn't released. It's energy buildup. So, that's why when people explode spontaneously from a temper or something, it's because it's buildup of energy. It's all energy, Matt. We are energy beings. We're walking batteries. We're walking vibrations. When you walk past someone that's in a bad mood, you'll feel that they're in a bad mood. Ooh, stay away from that person. It's energy.
Kevin, can you give me 3 examples how people can use self-talk to improve their life?
Yes, so this is what I use for myself. Okay, so the minute you have a negative thought, and it's gonna happen, between 40 to 60 to 70,000, whatever it is that they say, different spectrums of the equation, thoughts a day. So your brain's on fire all day long. It's just on fire. Even when you're sleeping, your brain's on fire. Sparking thoughts. The minute you get a negative thought like "I can't do this," immediately say, yes, I can. Yes, I will. Yes, I can. And if you said out, it's better to say it outspoken That's why I give you audios, because it's now you're hearing it, your mind's absorbing it, and you're feeling it. You know what I mean? It's not just a thought. There's lots of engagement in words. Words are like spells. It's spelling. It's programming. It's it's processing. So that's why I do that, Matt. And you have to reverse it, and at least until you forget. Don't stop. So I will say, I love myself. You're great. You're wonderful. You're all inspiring. You're amazing. And eventually I'll stop and I'll just carry on with my life. But you have to completely conquer that one negative with not unlimited, but just as many positives as you can in your conscious state. Now, when you go to sleep, I give audios to my clients. So when they sleep well, because the last 5 minutes before you go to bed are the most important 5 minutes of your day. Because whatever goes into your brain in those last 5 minutes before you go into deep, like, sleep, are going to have the most effect on you in your life. So
It's
if
like a
you're
REM
watching,
state.
yeah, you're always in a REM state. You're always in a REM state. The more the eyes flicker, the more they're having, like, releases and visuals, and it's like a movie screen. It's like a movie screen. Um, uh, it's the more you the brain's a muscle. You have to exercise it. You have to exercise it. So if you are watching something bad before you go to bed, like a horror movie or some thriller or some drama, you're gonna become you're going to become that person. You're gonna become a horror fanatic, or a drama person, or any other bad things that are not productive for you. Porn's not productive. It's destructive, because you're losing the emphasis of love and relationships, because you get pleasure out of instantaneous nothingness compared to a woman's real touch, or partner's real touch and feelings and emotions. So we're very sacred, as our bodies are temples, Matt. So it's very sacred. So you have to feed it quality, not quantity. Unfortunately, social media is quantity. So you just continue scrolling, and the brain is catching trillions of bits of data every single second into your brain. It's called message units, into your brain, into your brain, into your brain, as you scroll. That's bad. So what I would do is I'd watch big mega yachts. I watch Instagram videos of big mega yachts, Bugattis, $500,000 watches, and I would believe that was me. So when I was going to sleep, even though I was homeless, living in my car, I knew I'd have that one day, because I believed it. And I was tricking my mind. So at night I would dream of me winning lottery tickets. I dreamt of me winning lottery, getting 144 million, all this money, of me on big cruise ships and on the front decks and stuff, because I was feeding my mind this programming. So it was altering my state of existence. And then I went badass. Then I got into, then I did a year I got my bachelor's in psychology, got my, my associate's in psychology, mind and body psychology. I got my bachelor's in metaphysics. So I did a year then I went to school for a year to learn psychology, and that was boring, because it's about human behavior. I'm like, this is, human behavior hasn't changed in thousands of years, Matt. I'm like, I want to be a Dr. Phil. So I don't want to do this for another 4 years. Forget this. So I then transferred to metaphysics, which is the existence of reality. So who you are right now, Matt, there's things behind you, or things that happen in your external universe, your universe, not the universe, your universe, and not the metaverse. That's where the prime source exists. That's where the prime source comes from, is the metaverse. But in your universe, there's entities, things that are changing the way you move forward. And so I got my bachelor's in metaphysics. Then I just finished my master's. I finished my thesis yesterday. Now I'm doing. Then I love that. Now I'm a minister of metaphysics. Now I'm going for my doctorates, or my PhD in philosophy.
Kevin, can you give me an example of for someone to break free of a bad habit like porn?
Yeah. You can't do it consciously. It's impossible, because you're operating at a less than 10% capacity. So that 90% is going to completely rule you and control you. So you can't do it consciously. You have to go online, do a Google search looking for hypnosis audios on quitting porn. Or contact me, go to my website, contact me. Hopefully you'll share my stuff. I know you will, Matt. Share my stuff, please. They can go and I'll send them a recording. Just because, here's what I ask. I just ask for them to give me a testimony. That's all I want. I'm doing good. I'm in a good place. But the testimony will let other people know that what I'm doing helps. It's not a cure, and I'm not healing. I'm improving their existence significantly. You'll always have lust. You'll always have a desire. You'll always crave flesh and people. But what I do through the hypnosis is I give you authority over that response. So now you have full control and authority over that response, because you're always going to have the thought, oh, she's gorgeous, or a woman, oh, he's sexy, oh, I want to jump into bed with him. That's natural. You can't, that's part of our programming. That's part of the primitive programming. But it's how you control that authority over your response, from the emotion, the thought to the emotion, to the response, to the action. You know, when they join, when the mind and the body, when the mind and the heart join forces. But you know, they said this is the brain, this is the heart. When they join, that's when manifestation happens. So then they can control. I don't need porn. I'd rather find a proper relationship. So now their attention isn't on porn anymore. Their attention is attracting the right one they want. I want it to be tall and brunette, blue eyes, and big boobs. Beautiful. You'll get that, because instead of you getting porn, you're going to get that now. There is a transition. There is a bridge of time that's going to take, but you will eventually come to that, because that's your new goal. And if you set the goal, guaranteed you'll achieve it sooner or later, whether maybe not this year, maybe next year. But when you set a goal, it's guaranteed you're going to achieve it. It's just a matter of time, Matt.
Wow, the mind is so powerful, Kevin. What's one belief that you hear, because you have so many years of experience, but I mean, what's one belief that holds people back the most?
They don't trust the process. They got very primitive programming. Oh, my face says this is evil. Oh, that's dark. That's demonic. No, hold on. I'm a man of faith. Yes, here it is right here. You know what I mean? Please don't come to me with your garbage. I'm in the Word almost every single day. I pray extensively. I've had amazing experience in meditation and prayer through the Word. So they're speaking on an ignorant mindset level. They're not speaking on a high elevated level, because they haven't expanded their minds, because they'd rather listen. They're like I have faith. Well, when you say the Bible, well, I don't. Or I don't say my faith. I go to church on a Sunday. No, that's not how it works. That's very primitive. So you're a primitive. You're quite ignorant, and then you have the audacity to judge somebody. We're not meant to judge people. We're meant to love people, Matt, not judge them. So clearly, these people that are judgmental are clueless, and I call them clueless, and I feel sad for them, because they will never evolve. They'll never do or be great, because they limit themselves. They have this very lack mentality. Instead of saying, okay, hold on, maybe there is, maybe the universe is bigger than what we think it is. Maybe the world is bigger than what we think it is, because I've never really traveled. Well, then how can you have an opinion about another country, or even your country, when you've never even seen another country? You're an idiot. That's crazy, man. What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? But unfortunately, we've been brought up to be entitled and privileged, and so we think our opinion count, when it actually doesn't. It does not count, because you came into this world with nothing, and you will leave with nothing. So it's what you do with what you have as this temple that's more important than anything else. More important than the mega yacht that you have, or the multiple relationships you've had, is what you do with this temple and how you serve it. You've got to serve this. This is the church. This is the synagogue right here. It's not that building. That building is a dead shell. It means nothing. It does. It means
Yeah,
nothing.
what you are. I love that, because like it's like what you are is your gift from God, and what you do with it is your gift to God.
Right. It doesn't matter what church you go to. But let me tell you what does matter. When you go into the wilderness and you spend time in prayer and talking to him directly, that matters more than anything else. Now, he does love worship. He does. And I agree with that, because he created music. So when you're around other people, or when you listen to worship, he revels in that. That's because you're glorifying him now. But he also wants you to grow in your faith. That doesn't mean you have to go to a church. That means you can actually visit as many as you want to, or start your own one. It doesn't really matter. Or be at home, in your temple, and study the word, because now you're in the word, you're in him. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, we've been groomed or programmed to be dependent on external entities, external wants and needs. No, Noah lived off the earth. Noah built the ark. He wasn't given money for the ark. He was given all the resources. He was given all the time. He was even given supernatural help to build the ark. You know what I mean? So we're so focused on what can you do for me? What can the system do for me? My job, my income. We actually forget who we truly, really are. We are masterpieces, Matt. We are magnificent. We are incredible. And when you can harness that, you become fearless. You actually become dangerous because nothing affects you. Nothing bothers you anymore. So when you say you're wrong, you're like, shame for them. I pray for them. I hope they have a better day. Because it doesn't affect you anymore. But it's because it's on them. It's not on you. It's on them, Matt. But we're taught to love. I think that's the most powerful tool in the world is love. I did a documentary years ago in Hollywood on crack babies. I'll share this with you quickly. Depending on time, Matt. And I was talking to the doctor. His name was Dr. David, and he was working at a big, big, prominent facility in Los Angeles. And I'm in his office, and I said, "We've done all this footage of all these babies and living in homes, and some work, some don't work. What is it that you found from all of your research and going out to all these parents that take care of these crack babies that works for them?" Because what happens is, Matt, when they're born, they've got this fixated, they need drugs, so they put them on drugs. But as they get older, they have to wean them off the drugs. What happens is when you wean these children off the drugs, you're now removing a big gap in their life. So now that has to be filled, right? Because now there's space there. Well, what happens? Normally gets filled with negative stuff. So they become a crook, or they lie, they cheat, they steal, they rob, whatever it may be, because they've come from a broken birth anyway, and they've led into, and so you have to fill that space. He said the one thing that he found that worked in these homes with these parents and their crack babies, that their kids became, good children, was love. It's always stuck with me. He said that's the one thing. It wasn't him prescribing medication for the child because that's what he did. He said to me, it was love. Love changed everything, Matt. Love changed everything. We're so divided
That's
with
why having parents that love is so powerful.
right. They'll make you believe that you can have a space travel agency. Well, that doesn't exist. Yes, it does, because we're going to space now, right? So in the next 10 or 20 years, you'll be able to be like a cruise ship in space. Simple little things that they'll make you think big because they love you. We have to move away from TV telling a vision, television telling a vision, programming. We have to move away from that and be more engaged with ourselves. And that's where I missed was I wasn't engaged enough with my children and my ex. So I lost them. I know what I did wrong. Fortunately, I've got an incredible ex. She's an incredible human being, the best mother for my children. And I've got good relationships with my children. Now I do, because I have to give a lot more than I did before. And that's okay, because they need my love, Matt. They need my love,
That love and connection.
Yeah, that was actually a very significant moment right there. Very significant moment. Wow, okay. Very good. Yeah. That was a powerful moment we just shared right there, Matt. Thank you for that, by the question, by the way.
I love the words you use because words really shape people's identity. And when you say legend, I mean, when you say the word legend, what does that really mean to you?
So when I was a kid, my adoptive dad, he would say to me, Kevin, when you get up in the morning, look in the mirror. And when you look in the mirror, tell yourself, like speak it. Tell, I'm going into battle today because I'm going to win this battle because I want to win the war. See, when I was young, I didn't understand what he was telling me to do. I didn't understand. My dad treated me very, very well. My adopted dad treated me very, very well, incredibly well. Thank God, because he was my dad, my hero. What happened over time, Matt, was I approached every situation that. So I approached every challenge, every obstacle, every goal, every moment with, hey, I'm going to win this. I'm going to win this. Okay, now I've lost a lot. But I've probably lost, it's like the 80-20 rule. I've probably lost 20%, but I've gained 80%. So I've actually won overall. I've won way more extensively than I've lost. But yes, I've had some major failures in life, major failures. Losing my love, my ex was one. You know what I mean, and so forth. And good opportunities in my career. But is if approaching everything with attack, win. Because whatever the outcome is, you don't really know, but you've got to go in with that mindset. And you can't go in willy-nilly. You can't go in like twiddling your thumbs. Oh, okay, cool, like whatever. No, go in to win. And when you're in there, focus, pay attention, strategize. When you start to teach that to your brain, you become a legend. So you leave a legacy. And we have forgotten that. We focus all on the past mythological gods, which are real. They did exist on a different dimension and realm, Matt, because I study metaphysics. You start to understand the law of success that we can have. We can live. We can leave 1,000 generational philosophy behind. We've just missed that grandeur because we focus on such minuscule things like making sure that I arrive at work this week so that I can enjoy the weekend. No, dude, no way. That's no way to exist. It's like a guy wants to be a pro surfer. He'll just take his board and just run into the water. No, when that guy is walking towards the ocean, he's analyzing, he's strategizing, he's paying attention. Are the waves going east or are they going south? Or where's it breaking? How's it breaking? Where do I break into the wave? Where should I enter? You know what I mean? That's masterminding. That's thinking on the next level. Most people don't do that. They'll just charge into the ocean. Da! What if there's you don't know if there's a sand shark or someone on the floor that's poking your foot. You know what I mean? That's I was going a little bit excessive there. But what I'm trying to say is that if you approach life like it's sacred, and everything has meaning, even money is sacred. Money is sacred, Matt. It is sacred. If you treat everything that's sacred, you'll approach it differently, and you'll treat it differently, and then it will treat you in response differently. People that are always broke is because they just spend. They just buy. But they never say, okay, hold on. This is only $20. Man, that $20 is sacred. You can do a lot with $20. You can put gas in your car. You can buy a couple of burgers. You can buy a bunch of candy. There's so much you can do. If you just treat it differently, it will respond differently to you. But you see, we don't. We take it for granted. We take advantage of it. We abuse it. We insult it. So what happens to us? No wonder we broke. No wonder we live paycheck to paycheck. No wonder we don't have savings. No wonder we're retiring broke and homeless. Because we can't even afford to live on $1,200, which is called mailbox money from Social Security, because that's not going to pay for us. For me, in 30 years' time, I can't live off of $1,200. That's insane. Let's say it's $2,000 by the time I retire. I have to live out in the desert in a tin can on $2,000. You can't. That's impossible. You know what I mean? I live 70 years to live on $2,000. That's crazy. You know, we have to reverse that mindset. It's very weak.
Kevin, what habits separate legends from average people?
Win mentality, not a we'll do this together. Not we're in this together. No, Matt. Everyday Friday is your baby. It's yours. It's your responsibility. And the only way to make Everyday Friday successful, there's only one way. There's not 2 or 10. There's only one way. Is action. Action solves everything. Because if you had all the money in the world, trust me, you wouldn't be talking to me right now. You wouldn't even know I exist. I wouldn't even know you existed. But Everyday Friday, there's one thing that makes it is action solves everything. And eventually, that compound effect, eventually you start to get sponsors, and eventually you get paid to go to events, and then they pay to come to speaking engagements. Yes, but that's the one thing that you have control over right now. Is action solves everything. So, when you approach the action, you approach it that it's for you. Be selfish. Matt, I say that in a positive way. By being selfish, I'm not saying be envious of the other person. I'm saying, no, be selfish about you and how you're going to approach it. This is my cell phone. I love my cell phone. So I'm going to have my nice screensaver on there. You know, I got a nice case to take care of it. This is mine. It's not anybody else's. Take care of it. When you go to your job, do the best for you, because when you look good, everyone else around you will look good and your boss will look good. So when you become selfish in a positive way, not how negative people think, because they'll always flip the switch on you because they're negative losers, because that's what they are. They're losers. Think of it as a winner. I'm going to approach this. I'm going to do the best I can and get the best outcome for me. Because this is the analogy, Matt. Hey, I know you've flown many times, right? When you get on a plane, and of course, you know me, I love planes because I grew up on planes. When you get on a plane, I watched many, many times my mother, they would do, the host would walk up and down the aisle and say, hey, we're going to do a quick safety test that when there's any, and you know, they bring out the yellow life vest. When there's any turbulence, from the top of your cabinet will drop a oxygen mask. Put it on yourself first, you first, then help the person next to you or the child, your children next to you. So the host is telling you, put the oxygen mask on yourself first, that you live first. Because when you do that, Matt, then you can help the person next to you or your child or whomever's next to you on either side. Because in the moment of them panicking, you're in control of that authority. You have authority over it. That's the same analogy. Take care of yourself first. Then your entire universe around you changes. And the entire external universe changes. And then your mother's universe changes. And your dad's universe. And eventually you got this beautiful universe of positive energy. Because you took care of yourself first.
I love that. That is such a good takeaway because, I appreciate you saying that because like you gave me goosebumps right there when you're saying just take action. And because that's what I did at the start of the podcast. I just pressed record. I didn't rely on anyone else and I stayed consistent throughout time.
Well done, exactly. Yes, absolutely. And now you built a masterpiece, and it's going to become huge one day. You're going to have your own show and your own TV show and your own studio and your own, and it's going to evolve into something even better than that, where you can bring in other people now to help you with sales and help them, and then you can coach them and mentor them. Your life becomes so much more purpose when you follow your calling. There's so much more to you, Matt, than what you can see. There's a whole universe in front of you that's calling you to open those doors, the floodgates to all your prosperity and abundance. It's at your fingertips.
Yeah, and I believe that anyone can become a legend in their own life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, belief often comes with action.
Right.
I want to ask you this. I mean, how has faith guided you through your journey?
I lost my faith. Sorry about that, Matt. I'll just wait for a quick second. Matt, I didn't lose my faith. What happened was I questioned my faith. Because I thought God was out there. I thought he's on a big throne in heaven and we're just like ants. We're just ants. We're his children, but we're like insignificant. We have to beg him and plead him and ask him and scream and shout and knock on the door and seek him and bite our nails and bleed for him. It's absolute garbage. It's a lie. We've been cheated. He is within us. We are an extension of him. It's like a wave. When I live by the beach down in beach cities in Orange County, Matt. I was driving one day and I do a lot of praying in my car, and I even record my prayers so that when I'm driving, the universe hears my prayers, Matt. So even when I'm driving, there we are, the universe hears my prayers. And it reminds me. I choose to bind Yahweh's love for me in my heart, soul, mind, and body, and over the entire house of Kevin Toit. So what I'm saying, Matt, is when I'm driving, my words have been spoken to the universe, and I'm repeating them as well. So I'm not getting double impact. Plus, I'm adding on top of that. So all of this compound effect gets me more attraction, more abundance, and prosperity than just nothing. Because when you do nothing, you get nothing. You get nothing. When you do something, you will get some ROI. You'll get something in return for that. So I started to question my faith. And when I didn't eat for a day, when I was homeless, living in my car, and I couldn't put gas in my car, it scared the living daylights out of me. I was frightened to my core because now I'm hungry. Now I'm stuck in my car by the side of the freeway, off the freeway, because I couldn't see the freeway, but I was stuck. I was on the side road. I didn't know what to do. So I did a lot of praying and stuff, but this time I said, you know what? And I'll be honest with you, this is what happened. I sat there and I looked out my window and I said, whoever's out there, whatever's out there, whoever you are, I don't know what you are. And I started to look into the universe. I said, if you're the universe and you can hear me now, I didn't say God. I didn't say Yahweh or Yeshua or Jesus or El or Adonai. I didn't. I just. There's many names for him, Matt. I just said, like, whoever you are, whatever you are, if you're the universe, I need you right now. I need a best friend. I need somebody to come to my life and show me support and care, because I'm lonely. I've got nobody. My family lives up in Oregon. I'm in California to be near my kids, and I'm just broken. And as I was looking into the universe, I saw this big black like space. There was nothing there. I was like, that's weird. There's all these stars, but there's just this like black hole, like just like there's nothing existing. There's no stars or light in this big span of blackness. Literally the next day, things just started to happen. My phone started to ring. 2 weeks later, I was getting money from coaching somebody, so I got into coaching because I'd been a mentor before that, but I'd done it for other people and companies. I didn't really do it for myself. Now I'm coaching independently, a real estate agent. All of a sudden, things started to change. It was when I almost like I surrendered. I gave up, and I was tired of fighting, tired of the mundane, generic, scripted stuff that I'd given before that I learned at church or Sunday school or the synagogue or from a rabbi or from a Christian pastor. I went off script and I became emotional and I just surrendered. I was tired of taking on the responsibility and the claim or the blame or whatever it was. I was tired of it, and I had to surrender and let it all go. I was tired of taking care of myself. I was tired of fighting to exist. I was tired of all the debt that I had in my life. I was tired of it, and so I just let it go. But that it's almost like in the Bible it says, Jesus said to the one rich guy, he said, I want to be like you. I want to follow you. He said, okay, go get rid of everything. Just give it away and follow me. And he said, I can't do that. That happened to me. I lost everything. That I couldn't even feed myself. I couldn't even get myself from A to B. I was stuck. When you lose everything and you give up everything, that's when you go to baseline. Baseline is when that's when you become the real you. Then God can work with you, and then He can mold you from that. Okay, it's taken him 4 years, but I was at that's when I literally called myself. I was in a pit on a summer day because I was living in the snow with a lion. So I had all these demons around me attacking me. It's coming from Africa. I saw it as a lion in the real world. Um, I was that student in the Bible approaching Jesus. How can I be like you? He said, that's what happened to me. And now I'm an ordained minister. Now I'm a minister of metaphysics. So metaphysics is understanding the supernatural realm, demons and angels, and how we exist today because of that, and what happens today because of that, and what's happening in Hollywood because of that. There's a lot of meaning to who we are today that we're ignoring because we're not meant to focus on that. So that's my goal in life, is I want to bring the existence of reality to mankind, who they really are, that we're, in a sense, we are mythological gods because we're an extension of God. That wave, when it breaks, is an extension of the ocean, but it goes back into the ocean. Then another wave, not the same wave, a different wave, breaks. It goes back into the ocean. It's an extension of, we are an extension of God. We are gods, not God. We are gods. We're an extension of God. So He's given us privileges and rights to use because we are His children. We are His sons. We are not the son or the son. That's His favorite one. But we are sons of the Most High. And He's given us authority to use that. However, through life and experiences and trauma, we self-sabotage. We forget our true calling, who we really are meant to be. I'm not saying all of us are meant to cure and heal people and create miracles, but some of us are meant to be good cops and help people. Some of us are meant to be good. I can't stand lawyers, but lawyers. I can't stand doctors, but doctors. You know what I mean? Everybody has their purpose. People can't stand hypnotherapists. I understand that because I get a lot of rejection, and I'm okay with that. But I'm happy with who I am and what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Because when I have my clients under 100% control, and I see the transformation, and I see them change in front of my eyes, that's mind blowing. That's like, every single time I do it, I blow myself away. I'm like, I can't believe this is actually happening. I can't believe this is real. And Matt, it's the reality. It's real. I can't believe it.
Kevin, what do you hope people feel after working with you?
Relieved. We have lots of pressure. There's lots of tension and pressure and stress in our lives. when I remove multiple unconscious blocks, whatever they are, because only the subconscious mind knows that. The conscious person will not know what that is, because they're only operating a small percentage. They just say, Kevin, I used to want to always reach out and pick up my phone and look at social media. Now I can't stand even wanting to go near my phone. I'll just put it over there. That relief, that dependency gives you so much more power and control and authority back, that the external world doesn't have over you anymore. That is powerful, Matt, and we all have it. I've always said this, and I've always said this when I was in school. I said, well, if I can get a person off of meth or vaping and smoking in 1 or 2 sessions, why don't I just go into Skid Row and get all those 60,000 people off of meth on Skid Row? Well, you can, Kevin, but now you're dealing with the drug cartel. They'll kill you because that's their client base. You're dealing with the syringe companies and the drug companies. So you see what I'm trying to say? There's so much good I can do, but I'm also bound by outside authorities that will, if I start going down to Skid Row and saving people from their addictions, you're picking a fight with some very, very bad people. From I'm talking to the pharmaceutical companies down to the man on the street that's dealing the drugs. You know what I'm trying to say, Matt. So unfortunately, that's just reality. I can't do that. I'm just not able to, because I would be picking a fight that I'm picking a fight to the wrong people. Do you know what I mean, Matt?
Yes, and people would
Now,
have to be open to change.
and I can pray for them and stuff, and I can pray for them. I can do that goodness for them, but because I've been on Skid Row a few times now. To be in that environment, you're in a very dark place. It's gonna be. There's only one thing can get you out of that. It's not hypnotherapy. It's a miracle. Only a miracle can get you out of that place. You're not gonna walk out there because a doctor came and saved you, or you met some guru that gave you some words of wisdom. Only one thing. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. There's only one thing is a miracle. Walking out of that place, and that's why we need people to go in and pray for those people and help them, because they need that more than anything else. My services would do them good, but it would hinder me. You know what I mean? When they're coming to me, it's different because I can build rapport. They can trust me. But if I just walk into those streets, that's one place I thought I could go, but I can't because I'll lose my life, Matt. Sadly, and that's the truth. Sadly, that's just the truth.
And the people watching and listening at home, Kevin's information is in the description down below. Go check him out. I love your Instagram page, by the way. It's
Thank
so
you.
entertaining. I learned so much from it. Everyone go check it out. And Kevin, I just really want to tell you, I mean, you're doing a great job. I mean, whatever the content you produce, I love it. Keep doing what you're doing. And I want to move on to the next question because, you know, the show is called Every Day is Friday. And as you know, and Friday has like a special energy, whether it's like freedom, excitement, just feeling of accomplishment after a long
It's
week.
the weekend, baby. It's the start of the weekend. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, it's all good. Kevin, what does Every Day is Friday mean to you?
First of all, it's the start of the weekend, and I love that because I love the weekends. Because especially Saturdays. I don't work on Saturdays, so I look forward to that. Um, the reason maybe why I'm excited today because I'm in love. I've got a girlfriend, so I'm in love, so I can spend more time with her. And so every day. I mean, every day is Friday. I should treat every day as Friday. It's almost like a celebration, right? I'm in a good place, but and every day gets better. So every day Friday for me is just it's a better day, better day, better day. And because I choose to make it a better day. It's by choice. I'm not forced to anything. I decide. It's my decision to decide to make it a better day. Every day is Friday.
Kevin, love is in the air. Bring that energy into everyday life. Every day is Friday. I love it, man. And this is your chance to leave the. I love it. I love it. This is your chance to leave the listeners with something powerful. Is there anything else you want to share?
Yes. Everything we're going through right now with the Epstein file, there's more to come. This is just the tip of the iceberg. It's the tip of the spear, by the way. Is don't focus on what's going on because people believe it's nice to be important. It's actually more important to be nice. Just love yourself, focus on yourself, because don't let this outside stuff steal your joy. It's not worth it. Just it's nice to be important, like Hollywood things, but no, it's more important to be nice.
Now, Kevin, for the people watching and listening, where can people follow and support your work?
Please, go to my website because it's the easiest way to reach me via email, and even my social media links are on my website. It's at kevindotoit.com. So it's as if you do something and then TWA, but my name is spelled Kevin. Then it's D for David, U for uniform, T for Tango, O for Oscar, I for India, T for Tango. .com, kevindutoit.com, and I email a lot of people. I'm very responsive and I'm very civil. I try to reach out to everybody, but when I get sometimes 13,000 messages, it's impossible. But I do try and go backtrack, and I do try and the people that I can see really need my help. I'm very approachable and accessible.
And everyone, it's in the description down below. Go hit that link. And I appreciate you being here, Kevin. Thank you for sharing your stories and
You're a
experiences,
legend.
man.
Matt, keep it up. One day, I'm gonna look at you and say, "Man, I was there in the beginning." Matt spreading his wings, taking over the airwaves.
I love it. I love it. Let's have you back on again. I love you as a guest. So please come back again, maybe 6 months from now to a year, whatever. I don't care how many times you want to come back. You're more than welcome to come back. You have such knowledge, and I have such gratitude towards you. Thank you.
Thank you. Every day is Friday. Thank you, Matt.
And to
Cheers,
everyone,
legend.
cheers, legend. And to everyone listening out there, all the legends, stay tuned for more amazing stories on Everyday's Friday 365. If you enjoyed this, make sure you follow, share, and keep that Everyday's Friday mindset going. Stay inspired and keep every day feel like Friday. Until next time, everybody. Peace.
Beautiful. Thank you, Matt. Cheers, guys.